work for freedom. Set the scene. Have you ever helped someone? Many Americans in the past have helped others gain new rights. How do you think they reach their goals? Preview the lesson. Vocabulary, risk, noun. The chance that something bad might happen. Secure, verb, to make safe. Civil rights, noun. The rights people have because they are citizens. Okay, and then this is a vocabulary activity. And then the people will be, it says sometimes heroes take be risk, a chance of something bad might happen. These are the people: Anne Hutchinson, Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King, Jr. Remember that reading cause and effect. Remember that a cause tells why something happens, and effect tells what happens. Underline details in the first paragraph on 108 to tell you why Anne Hutchinson moved to Boston. Standing up for beliefs. Anne Hutchinson stood up for her beliefs. In England, she was not allowed to practice her religion, so she moved to Boston, Massachusetts in 1634. She came over with other people of the same religion, but Hutchinson's beliefs changed. She believed that faith was more important than following the rules of the church. She took a risk and told people about her beliefs. A risk is a chance that something bad might happen. Other people in her group wanted her to stop talking about her new beliefs. Finally, she was sent away in 1637. Today, some people think Hutchinson was a hero, or someone who acts bravely. And then this is a drawing of her, and it says Anne Hutchinson stood up for her beliefs about religion. Okay, and there's a little map to show you where Boston is on the east coast of the United States. See right there too. Okay, and then here's a timeline: 1637. Anne Hutchinson is sent away for standing up for her beliefs about religion. Standing up for freedom. Many Americans wanted to have a separate country from Great Britain during the 1700s. At that time, Great Britain ruled what is now the United States. Many people believed they would be better off if they had their own country. Many people helped the United States become its own free country. Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin were two of these leaders. Jefferson was a wealthy farmer and lawmaker. Franklin was a scientist and inventor. Both of these men helped write the Declaration of Independence in 1776. This document gave the reasons why the United States should be free from the Great Britain. Jefferson and Franklin took a risk to secure rights for the American people. To secure rights means to make them safe or to work hard to get them. Both men could have lost their lives for what they did. And here's a picture, and it shows the Declaration of Independence was approved on July 4th, 1776. And there's some pictures of Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin, Standing up for others. Harriet Tubman helped people find freedom in the 1800s. In about 1820, Tubman was born into slavery in Maryland. Slavery is the system of owning people and forcing them to work without pay. She escaped to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania when she was an adult. She could have stayed there in safety, but she did not. She risked her freedom and her life to help the African Americans escape from slavery. Tubman later became a leader in the Underground Railroad. An Underground Railroad was not a railroad. It was a secret group of people who helped enslaved people escape to freedom. In total, Tubman led about 300 enslaved people to freedom. No one in her care was ever caught. Okay, so here's a picture of where Philadelphia is. And then here's a picture of Harriet Tubman. It says Harriet Tubman helped enslaved people escape through the Underground Railroad. Okay. Frederick Douglass escaped from slavery like Harriet Tubman. He also used his talents to help other enslaved people. Douglass was a writer and a speaker. He traveled to many cities and gave hundreds of speeches against slavery. Douglass also wrote articles and 3 autobiographies or books about his own life. He started his own anti-slavery newspaper in 1847. It was called the North Star. Douglas's speeches and writings reached many people. His words led other people to join the fight to stop slavery. And then here's his quote. It says, "I stole this head, these limbs, this body from my master, and I ran off with him." He's talking about himself, but since his master owned him because he was a slave, he's saying he stole it. It says Frederick Douglass gave many speeches against slavery. Okay, so on the top you can see a timeline. 1776, Jefferson, Franklin, and others write the Declaration of Independence. And then it says 1847. And what would we put in there? We would have put that Douglass wrote a book. He started his own anti-slavery newspaper. And then 1849 is when Harriet Tubman escapes from slavery in Maryland. Standing up for our country. President Abraham Lincoln led our country during the difficult time in U.S. history. This was the time of the Civil War, when the northern states were at war against the southern states. The Civil War started in 1861 after southern states broke away to form their own country. They wanted to keep slavery and have more rights given to the states. The northern states went to war with the southern states to stop this from happening. President Lincoln wanted to end slavery. He issued a document called the Emancipation Proclamation during the war in 1863. This document freed the enslaved people in many of the southern states. The northern states won the war in 1865 and slavery was ended. And here's Washington, D.C. Here's a picture of Lincoln, and here's what he said. "All persons held as slaves within any state or designated part of a state, the people whereof shall then be in rebellion against the United States, shall be then, thenceforward, and forever free." From the Emancipation Proclamation. It says, President Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863. Standing up for rights. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. worked for civil rights for all people in the 1950s and 1960s. Civil rights are the rights people have because they are citizens. Many blacks were not allowed to vote or go to the same schools as white people. Dr. King led many protests and spoke out against such unfairness. Many white people did not like what Dr. King was doing. He often faced great danger. Dr. King gave one of his most famous speeches in Washington, D.C. in 1963. He said that that Americans should be judged by their words and actions and not by the color of their skin. A civil rights law was finally passed in 1964 that said that all Americans have equal rights. Summary: many people took risks to secure rights and freedoms for all Americans. Which of these people do you think was a hero? Explain why.